It's trying so hard.
Hey, what's up everybody? It's me, Gazbot, and it's day 52 of 100 days of making comics. That's right, 52 days in a row, every day spending at least 30 minutes a day, although I try to hold myself to 2 hours a day. Really, I try to go beyond that, but I've been failing that. Anyway, you get the plan. The plan? The point. And it's supposed to be working on my own personal comic projects, not work for hire or things for other people. So today, I did well and didn't do well. Today I did about 3 hours, maybe even 3.5, which is good because it's holding myself to that 2-hour limit that I want to hold myself to and then exceeding it. But I have almost nothing to show for it. I have a half page, or a third to a half a page roughed out of the next page of the horror. Now, the reason for this is when I got to the first 2 panels, it's sort of like I hit blind spots. You know when they talk about like in conversations, you know, suddenly you realize somebody never heard of you never saw some Star Wars or some famous movie, or there's some vocabulary word that someone always mispronounced and it just like hits you like, oh, that's crazy. Well, I get that in art. I mean, I'm sure all artists do, or all the ones that are self-aware should anyway, where you get to something and you're like, oh, I don't know how to draw that, or oh, I've never drawn that before, or I thought I could draw it, but as soon as I did, it looks terrible. And so I was having trouble with these panels specifically. Well, actually, panel 1, panel 2 wasn't that difficult. And it's, I'll put it up right here. There it was. And so you can see the first 2 panels, they came out okay. The second one I think is better than the first one. And it basically just, in the roughs, the thumbnails I had done, you know, you see feet hitting the pavement from like a low angle. And so first I do a little perspective of the alley and make up some stuff to be in there, and that took a little while. Not that it was difficult, I knew what I was doing, but it's just like, it always takes longer than drawing a tree or something that's organic, at least for me. So there was that. Then the feet, I just drew it and I was like, that looks wrong. And then I drew it like 3 more times, like, that looks wrong. So then I'm like, let me find some reference. So I looked online, and I'm counting all this in my workday because I'm looking for reference. And I had a really hard time not finding runners, but finding the sort of up angle where I wanted it to be like under the shoe, and I'm like, that's one of those this is one of those times when an illustration is better than a camera, because to get that shot, the camera would have to be like on the ground or under the ground. As someone's running, it's like so difficult to get. But being that I've never drawn that before, and I think organic perspective up, like I could do a 3-point perspective of a building pretty good, but then when it's organic, it's like my legs, and then here's my face, weird, you know. And there should be some distortion, but it should be intentional. And it was difficult, and I had a hard time finding reference. I eventually took a timer camera and set it down on my floor and tried myself kind of step in like I'm Godzilla or something. And that helped, at least to sort of get the shape of the bottom of my foot and sort of, but I wanted it to be in motion, and I'm sort of like balancing, and that's not exactly the same as like running. Running! Anyway, 3 times running, and running juice shows up. Running juice is like Beetlejuice, except way grosser. Anyway, I did all this, then I eventually, actually I drew some runners like standing up, like runners, you know, like in a marathon or something, but they all kind of run like this, like, here we go, and I wanted more somebody going like, oh my god, I'm running, and so it was difficult. I like, as you can see, I put something there, but it's a case where I kind of let it go, as opposed to having mastered it. Because while putting some amount of time looking at the research and practicing can be fruitful and needed to be done to not be horrible, because the first couple ones I did were terrible. What I have now is like passable. If I keep doing that, there's a limit to how much, at least for me, my brain can absorb at one time. After a certain point, I'm just redrawing the same thing, and I'm not going to get better. If I wait a day or 2, it'll get better. But also, this is just the roughs, and some things are getting more polished than others. And again, these roughs, I mean, arguably I might be able to ink right off of these, because I kind of get over-detailed. And I tend to get over-detailed on the things I'm less confident about. The things, if I'm drawing a monster, or, you know, somebody looking angry, that's stuff I could do pretty easily. So the roughs will kind of stay rough, but perspective, you know, a car, things like that, like this shot that I feel less confident with, I'm going to get more detailed with, because I know that even going into the pencils or the ink stage from this, I'm going to be still having to figure stuff out and work it. And by the time I get to inks, the hope is that it'll be better than it is now, but I wanted to get it as far as I could along. You get the idea. You're not foolish. You're not simple. Or maybe you are, and that's okay too, in which case I look much smarter. Hello! Anyway, so that's that. I did some other things, I tried to use Pinterest, and I've decided that, yeah, Pinterest is not for me. Somebody somewhere, I was like, oh, it's good for reference, and it's easier than Google image search and stuff, so I tried it when I was looking for runners. Not a fan. I hated that I had to sign up just to look at it, and I've had that problem before, but I bit the bullet, bit it, chomp, exploded in my mouth, my jaw fell off, I reattached it, and then, man, I'm in a weird mood today. So I signed up and I searched runner, and then it was like, well, let me look for upshot, runner, foot, and then it's like, nope, they're all separate tags. I'm like, well, let me put quotes around it. I'm like, no, we can't find it. So you can't put in a regular search. I had to be like, foot, run, photo, duh, and then I'm getting pictures of people's kids and other stupid stuff, and then I'm trying to pin it, and it was dumb, and I didn't like it, and no Pinterest, no. Somebody else said Flickr was okay, and I did have better luck on Flickr, but I don't know, Google image search just seems to work the best. Or any image search. I'm not trying to hawk it for Google. Hawk it. Hawk it. Hawk it! Ah! Did I say I was in a weird mood today? I guess I am. So basically my day was not super productive, but I did work quite a bit. I'm not particularly proud of the work I created, but I'm proud of the work I put in. I know I wasn't being lazy today. I have some client work coming up, some of which is already confirmed I've got deposits, some of which is not, some of which is in my studio, some of which is not. I do caricatures on site at parties sometimes, and those jobs I like to get because it's just a few hours one day, boom. It's not something that like is going to really interfere with my personal work or other things, as opposed to getting like a piece of studio work that's going to take me a week to work on or something. But I have a few of those coming up too. Not so much that I feel overwhelmed, certainly not so much that I'm going to stop doing this for you fine people, but enough that a little bit of cheddar becomes mouth food. Cheddar. And my cat's licking his butt. He's a butt licker. Flea problem seems to be doing okay. Unless he has fleas in his butt. Oh no. The other thing, the mail came today, and I got my copy of Space Sheriff Gavan, the movie. I've never watched the original series. This is a Japanese tokusatsu show. It's a Metal Hero show, which is different than the Ultra series or the Super Sentai / Power Ranger series, in that the heroes are either robots or wear armored suits. I'm not super familiar with this genre. I know this character, some of the characters, not this one particularly, but some from the series, were repurposed in the 90s as VR troopers from Saban when Power Rangers first hit, but it never took off the same way. I recently got a SH Figure Arts figure of 2 of the characters, and they're chromy, beautiful goodness, and I love them. And I've been meaning to watch the show. Now that I own the figures, I feel like I should watch the show. This is not the show. This is a movie remake thing, but similar to how I talked about Gantz a while back, Gantz, you get your unsolicited recommendation. Although it's not a recommendation because I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to watch it at the Tokusatsu Mania that we do once a month here. Bingo! So, what else? I'm about to go out. I'm going to cut it short. Well, this isn't short at all. I'm going to cut it short to like 18 minutes of me blathering. Good. Day 52.